Hello, everyone. Welcome to our virtual session. If you're having any trouble hearing, please let us know in the chat box. I have someone assisting me today, and they'll be able to let me know. As always, congratulations on your admission to Boston University. I'm really excited to be welcoming you guys to campus in a month. It's hard to believe that orientation is coming up. For those of you who haven't attended our sessions before, my name is Patrick Donahue, and I am the Assistant Director of Master's Admission and Recruitment for the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences. I'm also going to be assisted today by Casey DeZuba, who's our Graduate Services Associate. She's been working very hard to help put together the orientation coming at the end of August. She also works very closely with a lot of our student groups. So she'll be collecting our questions throughout the course of the presentation. As with our previous virtual events, as you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat box and I'll address them towards the end. We're going to be covering a couple different topics throughout the session today. A couple reminders for the start of the fall semester, including updates about housing and transportation passes. I'll talk a little bit about our MA and MS orientation session, which many of you have probably registered for. I'll comment a little bit on our student groups, GYs and GSO, which you might have heard in our past presentations. And then I'm going to be doing 2 live demos of resources that you guys will probably be using during your course at BU. The first one is the student link, which is where you can access registration, your student bill, and sign up for things like the MBTA pass. And the other resource that we have is what we call Blackboard, which is our site for course content. Some of your instructors in some of your classes might post course materials there. They might ask you to complete assignments there. We also have some content up on Blackboard for orientation sessions. You don't have access to that yet, but you will be having it in the next few weeks. So just a couple of reminders upcoming for the next month or so. If you're looking into housing options, we do have our off-campus housing website as well as BU rental services. Off-campus housing website is a really great resource for you to create a profile listing what you're looking for in terms of your housing search. You can match with roommates. You can coordinate with people who already have apartments in the Boston area that are looking for 1 or 2 roommates. So it's a really good hub if you're still looking for housing for the fall semester. I would definitely suggest clicking on the link in the slides and starting to create a profile and peek through those pages. I will also note that these slides will be available after the presentation, so you guys will be able to access all of these links after we've finished. You can also contact your departments. Some of them might have lists of students that are looking to connect different apartments, and they might be able to help link you up with those students, and then you can tackle the housing search together, which would make it a little bit of an easier process. I know we talked a little bit in the past about transportation. There are a couple different transportation options. I will say, though, that Boston is a pretty walkable city. I live nearby in the neighborhood of Brookline, and I walk to work. I walk pretty much everywhere, so it's not quite as necessary for students. If you are interested in receiving transportation passes, we have what's called the MBTA, or the T. That's our subway system here in the city of Boston. And students can sign up beforehand for discounted transportation passes for the T, or the bus, if you're planning on taking the bus. The deadline to sign up for those is August 10th. So that's upcoming in the next few weeks. As we move through the student link demo, I'm actually going to show you how to sign up for that pass. So you'll get to see the instructions for filling that out. It's all done through the student link. We will also be having our master's orientation coming up at the end of August. It'll be on Friday, August 30th. You should have received a registration email asking you to register for those in advance. If you didn't receive that email, feel free to let me know after the presentation and I can send you the registration link for that. Orientation will have a number of different events throughout the day. There'll be different presentations in the morning from our dean and several staff members, and then there'll be what we call the resource fair in the afternoon, where we have a number of different organizations across BU present their resources to campus. Some of those include the library, some of our student groups, BUPD, and other key resources that you'll be using throughout the duration of your program. If you guys have any questions about orientation, which ones you do and do not have to attend, feel free to let me know. For international students, you will have to also attend the ISSO orientation, which is the following Monday. If you haven't registered for that yet, definitely let me know and I can send you the link to register for the ISSO orientation as well. So just to cover a little bit of our student groups, we have two main student groups here at the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences. There's the Graduate Student Organization, or GSO. That's open to all GRS students, both PhD and masters across all different disciplines. You can be added to their email list from their website, and I've actually linked out their website here on this slide. So if you want to receive updates about the group, the different events that they have throughout the year, I would definitely recommend adding your email to the list. They also offer sponsored events throughout the year that help students with networking, making connections on campus. They also have just sort of fun social meetups at the BU Pub or other areas on campus, which is a nice opportunity for you to meet with other graduate students. Our other main group is GWISE, which is the Graduate Women in Science and Engineering group. They provide connections for women in STEM fields. They're similar to the GSO, they're available for both PhD and master's students for them to connect with. They also have their own website, which is connected here. And you can feel free to sign up for their mailing list as well. And similar to GSO, they have several events that they offer throughout the year. And I did just receive a quick note. It's both women and men can join the group, so it's not exclusive just to women in science and engineering. I will also add that both GSO and GWISE will have representatives at the upcoming resource fair at our orientation session. So you'll be able to actually meet with them in person there if you have an interest in joining the group and want to find out more about the different events that they hold. So before we dive into the demo portion, do you guys have any questions about the previous slides that I just talked about? You can feel free to put them in the chat. Okay, so it looks like, oh, one question. For registration for GSO, you can sign up for their email list, and then you can also email their main account to ask about signing up for the group beforehand.
Hi, so I'm just going to hop in as well. I'm Casey. It's nice to meet all of you. Just by being a graduate student here at Boston University, technically you're already part of the GSO. They hold monthly meetings where they have food, talk about upcoming events, do introductions. So you can also just attend one of those monthly meetings. But as Patrick said, absolutely check out their website, sign up for their mailing list, and you'll also find the information there about their meetings. So you're technically already a member, congratulations, and you can just show up to the meetings as well.
So if those are the questions we have for now. I will dive into the demo, but there will be time for questions at the end. So if there's other things that you want to cover, we'll cover that there as well. This works. So you guys should be able, hold on just a minute, trying to get, so you should now see a page that looks like our student link. This is where we're going to be walking through the first sort of live demo. And the link is included in the slides here, so you'll be able to click through and access it after the slides, after the presentation. And as I was saying before, this is a really good hub for all of our students. It's where you're going to be doing a lot of the sort of background registration and student account access. So the first thing that I want to show you guys on this main page is up here by the Express link section. This very first link here is a checklist for new grad students. So if you click on that page, it offers a couple different areas for where they break out about different sources of information. And you can scroll through and go through the different pieces that they recommend you cover before you arrive here on campus. Some of that might include compliance, which would be stuff dealing with your immunization forms or registering on with your account, confirming some of your personal information, looking at some of the finance options, connecting with your BU email, which you can test here. If you have access if you're interested in accessing the Fitness and Recreation Center, signing your agreement before you attend on campus, which can also be done here. And then just checking through stuff that's going on at BU through either our BU Today articles or sections about campus life. It's a really good resource for you guys to take a look at before you've arrived on campus. So going back to this main page, which will be done through this little eye here, there are several different tabs for the student link that you can click through to access the different parts of the website. One of the ones that you'll probably use pretty frequently is the Academics tab, which is this orange tab here. So if we go into it, it shows you the different options listed here. One of the ones that you can start to look at now is what's called the University Class Schedule. So this is where you can see the different classes that we offer throughout the year. If you want to know what courses are offered for the fall for a certain department or program, you can do that. So here you could select Fall 2019, and then you could select, if you know you're in the anthropology department, sorry, it's GRS. And their code is AN. You could take a look at the different courses that are offered for the fall. It'll tell you a little bit about what days they're offered, which is in this column here, and also the times. So if you want to get a head start on the registration process and take a look at which courses are offered, you can do that through the University Class Schedule. Going back to the Academics tab, we also have the University Course Description Search, which is a useful tool if you want to look up different courses that you might be interested in taking, but you're not sure which ones are offered. So let's say you have an interest in marine biology or marine science. In this top bar with all the worlds, which I've already looked up before, if you click in marine biology and you click search, that contains any courses that have either in the name in the title or in the description for the program, the term marine biology. So if you're looking for specific course areas, that might be a good way to help you narrow down the different courses you're looking for. You can also specify which college, which is helpful. So if you unselect, because this is all the colleges there, and our college is GRS, if you want to know which ones are offered just for graduate courses, you could do that as well, and that would give you the various options. Going back to the Academics tab on the student link, if you want to look at academic summary, and this is going to be relevant just to my personal profile, so it won't show you guys your information, you will need to sign in with your Kerberos login. So this brings up for all semesters that you've enrolled your academic summary at the time, and it can tell you the different courses that you've taken. I'm not going to click in here just because it is my previous coursework as I was a BU student, but you can click around in there. You should have an active semester for fall 2019, so that should show up for all of your records. And then looking at diploma and graduation information. So for all of you that submitted your final transcripts, if we've received them and logged them in our office, this is where you'll see them through diploma and previous course information. So under previous degrees, in this case, because I was a Boston University student, my previous degrees are listed here. If you earned it at another institution, it will have that course name here. And then under registration, and I'll just briefly cover over this, your departments will cover more in-depth the registration process for each specific program because it will vary a little bit for student to student. but typically this is where students would register for courses. So if you're registering for the fall semester, it would be under this section here, under Reg Options. I am not actively enrolled in there, so there's nothing for me to see, but for you guys, there will be a space. You'll need an academic advising code, which you will have once you've met with your department and your academic advisor. And there's just one last thing I wanted to show you through the academics tab. It's the academic calendar. So this will actually link you out to our university registrar. If you're interested in the specific dates of the semester and when you'll have vacations or days off for the semester, this is a really great place to look. So as we scroll through, since you'll be enrolling in fall 2019, this is when the dates start. So as you can see, classes begin on September 3rd. There are a couple holidays throughout the semester, and then the final exam period will be ending at December 20th. Definitely feel free on your own time to click through the academics tab and see what some of the other functions are. Typically, you can just view things. The only time where you can take action is the registration function. And as I said before, that's something that you'll be covering with your departmental orientation. Under Money Matters, this is where students would pay for their bill. And that would be done through the student account inquiry. I do want to note that you won't have bills until you've registered for courses. So if there's nothing listed there, that's completely normal. It won't appear until you've registered. So under student account inquiry, the amount that you would be due for your bill once you've registered for your courses will show up in this middle section here. If you are looking to make a payment to your account, that would be up here in this top section. If you're looking to enroll in a payment plan to space out some of the payments to make it a little bit easier, that's an option up here as well. If you want to give a parent or guardian access to help view your account, you can do that through what's called the share link. So you could add their name and email information. They wouldn't have the same level of access as you, but they can see the account if they're also going to be helping to pay some of that cost. And then going back to the Money Matters tab, under medical insurance, you all are automatically enrolled in the medical insurance. So that would be charged to your account once you've registered. If you already have medical insurance and you don't want to enroll in the BU medical insurance, you could waive it here. It'll tell you a little bit information about the different costs of those insurance plans. And then if you're looking to waive the insurance because you don't want to have the BU one, that will be down here with this red link. And once you complete it, it would remove that charge from your account. And it also gives you a little bit information about the enrollment period and the timeline for when to waive or to enroll in it. So it looks like we have a question about accessing the share link. So just to go back to student account inquiry. So under share link access, so this is going back a little bit. This is my mom down here who I had added at the time when I was an undergraduate student. So you can add in a family member, and then you can add in when they have access and what they have specific access to. So if you wanted to add a new person, you can add their first name, last name, email address, and then you can edit the level of access that they would have with the share link. So it looks like we also had a question about the sports pass, which I was actually just about to cover. All students are automatically enrolled in the sports pass. If you do not want the sports pass, under the section here under Money Matters, you can go to sports pass. Mine doesn't appear because I don't have it, but you could click on that page and then say, I do not want to have access to the sports pass, and that would be removed from your account. So it's a pretty easy process just through the Money Matters tab. This next part is a little bit more for some of our domestic students who might have loans from their undergraduate institutions. If you're looking for notifications about your loan deferment, you can access that here through the Money Matters tab if you have any questions about it. And that information also goes through our main financial aid office. So that covers most of the stuff that you would typically use within the Money Matters tab. As with the academics one, feel free to click around there. I will add that a lot of the student link has been built out for some of our undergraduate students. So some of the loan and financial aid information there are specifically just for undergrads and not so much for the graduate population. Under the personal tab, you'll want to take a look at your personal profile. So that lists your name, your BU email address, your primary mailing address. Take a look at that to make sure that all that information is accurate. You can also edit that information through the student link. I would also recommend taking a look at your compliance status. You'll need to update your compliance each semester before you register for classes. That's something that you want to be checking a little bit more frequently. Your compliance will cover a number of different areas. It will cover your student account bill, your medical immunization status, which I know a lot of you have been working on, your BU alert phone number, which you'll need to update every semester, your local address, which you'll also need to update every semester through the address and phone function here. And then the Massachusetts Motor Vehicle Law, which I believe won't apply to many of you because I believe it's just for Massachusetts residents. So for many of you, this should say not applicable. You'll know if you're in compliance if each of these sections over here has a Y to say yes. And then it'll also tell you at the top if you're in compliance. So going back to that personal tab there, if you wanted to update your address and phone to have a local number, as we were seeing in the previous screen, that's where you could update that information. And you will need to update it on a semester basis, even if there's no changes. As I was mentioning earlier in the presentation, this is where you can purchase your MBTA semester pass. So under the semester pass function here, if you click on that page, it'll take you to an enrollment page for the pass. There's a couple pieces of information here that you want to take a look over. You can select which type of pass. And just for your information, the pass for the T is the link pass, which includes the bus as well. These ones down here that list zone is for the commuter rail. So the only one you would really need to focus on if you're interested in getting the T pass would be that link pass there. You can pick up your delivery option. You can either pick it on campus or at one of the other locations at either the medical campus or our main campus. You can pay through a credit card or you can charge it to your student account. And as I was saying, the deadline to enroll for that is August 10th. So if you want to do that, I would do it soon. For our international population, you'll want to take a look at this international verifications select part of the student link where you can check to see if you've been verified for the semester. That is a process where you'll have to check in with our office once you arrive on campus for orientation. It'll be covered more in depth at the ISSO orientation, but it's helpful to know beforehand. And then if you are interested in enrolling in the Fitness and Recreation Center, you will have automatic enrollment in the program. But if you want to check their usage agreement before you arrive, you can click on that here. You can also check on your membership. I don't have one because I'm not a student, so nothing appears here, but it will tell you the details of your membership if you click through that section there. And then if you want to test your BU email, you can also do that through this last function here, the check your email function. So taking a look at the next tab, the work tab, if you're looking for smaller jobs on campus, there's a couple different options here. Quick jobs are one-offs. They might be people in nearby neighborhoods who need you to do a smaller task around the house. Really useful if you're looking to sort of make some quick cash for a job that you don't plan on having for a long period of time. If you're hoping to pick up an on-campus job, you can find that either through part-time jobs or by using this search quick and part-time jobs function. I unfortunately don't have access because I'm not a student, but you should be able to look through and take a look at some of the job listings there, which would be on campus. That covers the majority of the functions here. Most of them apply if you already have a job on campus. Again, you can feel free to click through and take a look at them. So the next tab is really more so directed towards undergraduate students. I just want to preface that beforehand. Food and shelter covers on-campus housing for undergraduate students if they're enrolled in a dining plan, and the microfridge rentals also happen through the undergraduate student population. As BU students, you do have an option to purchase what we call convenience points, where you can load money onto your card. That's not just for undergraduate students, that's for graduate students as well. Makes it a little bit handy if you don't want to carry around a credit card, or if your parents want to load money onto your card, and you can use that at any of the BU locations here. So if you want to purchase those beforehand, and it doesn't have to specifically be you, it can be a family member, you can go through this page here, which I also don't have access to because I'm not a student. And then this last page here, Basics, covers a little bit about getting started and BU as a campus as a whole. Definitely feel free to click around there and learn a little bit more about BU before arriving on campus. And then this last tab here is for our index, which lists all the different functions within the student link. So if you click back on and you remember that you need to access your student account inquiry, but you don't remember what tab it is, you can look under the index and then find student account inquiry here, which is pretty useful. So that covers the live demo of the student link. While we're still here, do you guys have any questions about the student link? So I see a couple of questions here. There's a student who was talking about registration beforehand. Some departments, if you have a set number of courses, may have registered you prior to your enrollment. I would recommend you email your department and inquire about the courses there, because they might have more information for you. The ISSO orientation is not the same day as the master's student orientation. Our master's orientation is on August 30th, and their orientation is the following Monday. I believe it's either the 3rd or the 4th of September. Or 2nd, sorry, 2nd of September. That's the 3rd, yes. If you don't see anything under the graduation record, it might be that we've received your transcript, but we haven't yet logged it in the system. I would recommend that you email GRS at bu.edu, and they can let you know if they've successfully received your transcripts. There's also a question about immunization forms. The deadline to complete all of your immunization requirements is the first day of classes, which is September 3rd. So you still have plenty of time to submit all that documentation. I will also add that if your particular country or area doesn't have the immunizations that are listed on the form, you can actually receive them when you arrive on campus prior to orientation. You can schedule an appointment with Student Health Services, and they can give you those immunizations there. So it looks like we've covered the majority of the questions there through the student link. We will again have time towards the end of the session to cover more of the questions regarding those, but I will move on for now to the Blackboard site. So the link to access Blackboard is learn.bu.edu. And for this, you will also be required to log in with your Kerberos password. So this is the main page of Blackboard. As I was mentioning earlier, some of your professors might use this to list course content or post grades. So it's something that you would want to be typically checking regularly. On this opening page, if your faculty member or your graduate TA wants to post any announcements, they'll be listed here on this main page. So you can view them as soon as you log in. We have a couple different courses listed here on the right. These are actually supplements for orientation. When you guys have access to Blackboard, you'll see those there for the master's orientation. I actually clicked through some of those resources there so you can see them now beforehand. Once your faculty member has added a course into Blackboard, it'll actually appear here for you. So you won't have to add it there, it'll be automatically added. If you have started your semester and you don't see any information there, that could also be normal. Some professors don't use Blackboard, so they might give you your course content outside of the site there. But typically, most of our courses do have a little bit of information listed on Blackboard. I also want to note over here on this left side under Tools, they have Calendar, which is your calendar and timeline, so you can list different stuff required for your classes. Tasks are not tasks that your professors give you. They're tasks that you can list for yourself. So if you know that you have an upcoming project and you want to log a specific task, you could add that there for yourself, just as a reminder. Going back to this main page here, If any of your professors record grades in Blackboard, you can view that here under My Grades. You could send an email to a faculty member, which you could access here. The user directory will let you know which faculty members have access within the system. And then these are some other components that you might be able to use. I'm not quite sure what application authorization is. I don't believe it's a function that students would typically use when they're enrolled in the program. So I'm going to click through the Master's Orientation Supplement, which is over on this side. There is a welcome page, which gives you a little bit of information about the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences, which you'll be able to view soon. And this works similar to how you would access a normal course. You could see the main header over here on the left. There's the welcome page, which we just accessed. And then there's this page here for orientation materials. So we break it out by registration, financial aid basics, some of our policies and codes of conduct, Title IX and sexual misconduct, which we will cover in a presentation during orientation, so you'll learn more a little bit about that. And then from our previous orientation, we actually listed the presentations that we had there. So you can access those slides if you want to take a look before the orientation. We also have some FAQs here that we typically receive from new incoming students. So you'll want to take a look through some of those. If those happen to be some of the questions you have, which it looks like we've also listed beforehand. So the sports pass, which we cover through the student link, covering fees and the MBTA semester pass. So definitely feel free to click through that page. And then there's also a contact page, which will list our contact information and how we're broken up within the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences. So some really helpful information, which like I said, you guys will get an email once you have access to this, and you'll start to be able to click around and access this main page. I also want to be able to show you, just because I like to have more of a clean page, which not all students know how to navigate this, but going back to My Blackboard Learn courses, as you enroll, all of your courses will be listed there, even ones from prior semesters. If you want to have only your active ones listed under this little gear sign here. So all of my previous courses that I've enrolled in are listed here on this page. They will show as check marks if they're listed on your Blackboard site. If you don't want those to appear anymore, you can deselect the checkboxes, and then when you hit submit, it'll actually clean up that main screen. So these are the ones that I'm currently subscribed to. You can see the checkboxes for the orientations. If I didn't want to have them there, I could uncheck them. I do want to have them on, so I'm going to leave them there. And if you wanted to add other courses, if there's a previous course that you wanted information from, you can add that back in. So all that information will be available to you throughout the duration of your program. And as you can see, I've graduated from many of my courses, and I still have access to that information through Blackboard. So it's there even after you've graduated, which is helpful. If you're interested in looking at all the different courses that we offer, you can access that here. I will add that typically if you're not enrolled, you won't have access to any of that Blackboard information. So you can preview which ones are in Blackboard, but you can't actually look at the course content specifically. And under the Student Services tab, it links out to different resources throughout the BU campus, as well as a feed from the tweets. So feel free to take a look at that as well once you have access. So that really covers the bulk of what you'll be doing in Blackboard. Once you have access and start enrolling in courses, you can really start to play around with it. I don't have any course content here, unfortunately, to show you, but once you have some course content up there, you can start to play around with that functionality as well. So let's go back to the slides. So we covered both the student link and Blackboard. So now that we've covered those two tools, I just want to check in see if you guys have any questions about those. So there's a couple questions about Blackboard access. You don't have access just yet. We're still getting the course site built up, but once you do have access to that, we'll send an email out to you notifying you that it's ready for you to take a look. Oh, We do also have a question for registering for ISSO orientation. When I send out the slides, I can also send you a link to that registration for the orientation. It's going to be on the main ISSO website, but I can send you that link as well. The video is being recorded, so once it's finished processing, I can also send that out to you guys. It will be available on your personalized URL as well through, if you've logged into your personal URL, you can have access to the video there, but I will send it as well. You can also feel free to ask any upcoming questions before enrolling, so it doesn't have to be specifically about the demos. If you have any questions about housing or immunizations or final transcripts, we can also answer those as well. So it looks like we don't have any questions. Oh, sorry. Yes, so it's a great question. If you purchase an MBTA pass, you can pick it up at a later date. You don't have to pick it up right when you purchase it. So they can have it ready for you at the desk, and then when you arrive on campus for orientation, you can pick it up there. There's also a question about the BUID, or what we call the Terrier card. You'll receive those when you arrive on campus for orientation. We have what's called the Terrier Card Office, which is at the basement of our student union, which will show you on a map when you arrive here. And when you go to the Terrier Card Office, you can receive your BUID there.
And when you get your BUID card, it's important to note, usually you have to be registered before they'll allow you to actually get the card. So sometimes people will head in before they've registered and they'll realize that they can't get it. So that's one thing to note. And they'll also ask for another form of ID when you're getting your Terrier card. So your passport would work, any sort of other ID you have, a license, a military ID, anything like that would work. They just need another photo ID to verify before they'll give you your card. All of that information is also available on the Terrier Card Office website.
Yes, so we have a question. It looks like a student-specific login ID. It won't be accessed. You won't have access to Blackboard right at this very moment. We will be giving it out in the next few weeks. It looks like we have a question about sample math problems, but I'm not quite sure. Is that particular to your department, maybe? There are some programs that have either a math exam or a quick brief boot camp for the MSSP program. So that would probably be more department specific, I would imagine. So there's a question about Peabody Hall. They've received a large body of requests, so I know they're sorting through them. I would probably recommend, just since it's a little bit later in the summer, taking a look at the off-campus website just as other potential options. Peabody Hall, I believe, is mostly full at this time, so they'll be taking a few students off the wait list. So I definitely recommend just taking a look at off-campus housing and other potential housing resources. It's a great question. So someone's asking about the BUID card and being able to pay for things. So your Terrier card won't necessarily be able to pay for things automatically. If you load convenience points onto your card, you can use that to pay at many of the BU venues, but you will have to do that beforehand. The BUID cards provide a couple different uses. You can use them to gain access to the Fitness and Recreation Center. That's pretty much the only way you can gain access is by swiping your card. If you are looking to enroll in a dining plan, you would need to use the BUID card. You'll have to show your BUID card for many of the BU on-campus events. It also allows you to get discounts at various places around the city, so it's pretty useful in that regard. And if you plan on eating at places on campus, like the student union or some of the restaurants, it'll be incredibly useful for loading on convenience points and paying for those there. So it seems like we've covered most of the questions here. I will be sending out the slides and the recording through the presentation, as well as the ISSO orientation email. Just let me write that down. So you guys will have access to all this information after. As always, definitely feel free to reach out to me with any questions. My contact information is here, but I'm sure many of you have also heard from me through email. Definitely feel free to reach out. We're happy to help you through the process before the start of the semester and even as you've enrolled, as you start to acclimate to BU. So have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you guys